Hey y'all, I believe we're on the internet. It is November the 28th, I believe, 2019. And of course, this is a surprise broadcast. Who knows if we're going to leave it up? Who knows if we can leave it up without getting banned off the internet? We're going to see what it is that we could pull off today. And there's a few things that I got to go over with y'all. Right? It's pretty important. In fact, it's the reason why I named this broadcast. The thing is, I've been thinking about a name for the broadcast. All right, something kind of cool to call it, something nifty to call it. And I've been, kind of outsourcing to see what other people have thought about it. All right, and I didn't really get too much feedback. It's kind of hard. I got to admit, it was kind of a hard task to take upon ourselves. Thing is, I think it dawned upon me just the other day, if not Thanksgiving, which was yesterday, then the day before. I was really thinking about it. In fact, I made a video and I didn't upload it dealing with exactly what we're going to go over today. Right? And that's shaming on people. Right? We realized that a long time ago we've been building up concepts. We've been following certain cases and analyzing how those cases relate to the world around us, right? It's a big world. It might be round. It might be flat. I don't think it matters all that much. But we've been doing all these things, and we've been gathering things. One thing that I realized quite early on in my career here on the internet is that bullying, there's a thing about bullying. A lot of people talk about it, especially upon the internet, because a lot of things happen on the internet that are of a bullying nature. You get comments and things of that nature. It's really going to just expand your horizons. If anything, it's going to introduce you to a realm of insults that I don't even think most of us thought was possible. All right, there is that sort of stuff. You're going to experience that. And what I tell people, young and old, who's trying to get into the YouTube game or the content creating and sharing game, is you're going to get that. Definitely. I promise you, you're going to get that from time to time. Real bad stuff that you're going to see. Either you're going to ignore it or you're going to dwell upon it. And sometimes it drives people about the internet. I couldn't blame them if you're going to dwell upon it. All right, because it can get wild. And not only that, people sometimes they experience what they've called bullying from places such as YouTube. Excuse me. All right. There's all sort of bullying going on. And then I hear tell when people talk about bullying taking place in schools. All right. There's a lot to be said about that because people have been having different various concerns about schools and the safety of schools and the validity of schools, the efficacy of schools, I think. Some people, and they've been wondering about that. Most people have been just wondering about the safety, especially in concerns with these mass shootings. Now, it's interesting how in America there are mass shootings, certainly, but only some are showcased and some are not. Some are really talked about and dwelled upon and some are not. Some people's witnesses all come out of the woodwork and they start spilling the beans all over the place. And we're going to actually reference that on the later part of this video. I got something very important to share with y'all here on YouTube. As you can see, I got some stuff lined up for us to look at. All right. And it is going to involve something like that. We don't really, on this channel, we don't keep up very much with not too closely with the mass shootings or whatever that they're being emphasized, right, upon that mass media, upon the television that people see. All right, we're going to reference that, but I was thinking about certain things such as what I had seen, what we're going to go over later on in this video, a particular video that I stumbled across. I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, bullying is it's interesting because it has a kind of a quality. It could be demonized, and in that, nobody wants to see someone being unfairly pushed around and, dictated over and stuff, dominated. People don't tend to want to see that, all right? And so they would be against bullying. And for that reason, I could see exactly what they're saying, and it does make sense. You wouldn't want people to be all dominated over in your presence in a selfish way, just because technically you're probably next, all right? And as a safety mechanism, that is how it goes. You wouldn't want to see your neighbor getting all bullied around because you're going to be next. You're going to get bullied around, all right? It's a survival technique, and for that reason, yeah, it makes sense, all right? But at the same time, the problem is, and you can tell by the name of this broadcast, is that shame, and I heard this from a lot of people, all right? I didn't just come up with this myself exactly, but I've heard it before, and it's just only dawning upon me how serious that is and how much it really means as far as shame. The concept of shame on society, right? A lot of people didn't realize that we need it so much. We went through, I think, a time and an era in which shame was altogether thrown to the wayside. People forgot about shame. Shout out to the person watching this video. I see you out there. We're talking about shame, and that's actually the name of this broadcast. Probably it's going to be the name of the broadcast from here on out. All right, more than likely. I like the ring of it. It sounds like a good title, but we're going to see. Thing is, the concept of shame. That was definitely something I was dwelling upon. All right, from the things that we're watching, from the things that we're going to look at right now, for example, for the pictures that we're going to look at right now, and to include some other stuff, and to include the video that we're going to watch after that. It was all kind of hitting me all at one time that I think these people should be ashamed of themselves, right? And the thing is, like I suggested, over the pop culture, or whatever, society, they've been kind of trying to do away with shame, all right, in the name of bullying and calling it bullying, all right, and saying you can't bully nowhere. If you got this thing and you think right is wrong, the difference between them, then that's bullying and that's shaming. You're shaming that person and you're bullying them, all right. When they get rid of that completely, then people's morals just kind of like open up, right? I talk to a lot of people. All right, some people I talk to, they believe in God. Some people I talk to believe in the same God that I do. All right, and it's pretty awesome. And then I talk to some people who they don't believe in God or something like that, or maybe they believe in some other God. All right. See, the thing is, we're talking about it, and there's I forget exactly why I brought that up, but the thing is, there's a difference between right and wrong, basically, all right? And depending on their God or whatever religion that they're talking about, they get their moral values, all right? It's kind of like a moral compass, if you will. And it shows them how to do it. Like some people take the Bible and they say, okay, everything is in the Bible, I'm going to follow it. What it's trying to tell me to do, I'm going to follow it directly because there's some sort of moral value to it, right? And then when you talk to, say, people who are maybe like agnostic or something like that, if you were to have a conversation with them, typically, where's their moral value coming from? If not from, say, God or the Bible or the Quran or all these books. Okay? Typically, I don't know whether they admit it or not. I think typically, from what I've seen, what I experienced, they get their moral compass from society. All right? Prime examples, for as long as I can remember, harassing kids, right? Sexually, been a bad thing, and all of society knew it. I mean, this is the culture that I came from. And still today, it seems that way. Right? It's kind of discouraged. All right? And it's kind of an interesting thing because a lot of people can get a lot of reasons why they would feel that harassing kids on a sexual nature is wrong. All right, you can get it from the Bible, you can get it from God, you probably get it from the Quran. I wouldn't know, haven't read the whole thing, haven't read those books and stuff. You could probably get it from a lot of places, but I think people especially get it from society. They look around and say, hey, nobody's doing that out in the open. I don't see anybody doing this. It doesn't seem like a normal thing. In fact, people talk about it and they talk down upon it. as far as harassing children. Like I said, in a sexual nature, like thing is maybe you go to some other country, some other cultures, and that's just fine. Maybe that's what they do out in the open, but here we nobody does it out in the open, and nobody even does it. The people who do it, they're like a minority, but they do it, and they do it typically in secret. Why is that? Why is that? I don't know what other answer it would be except for shame. All right. They would have the shame, they would have the nerve enough to know that we would immediately lay a beat down in the public square, and all sort of stuff would happen. All sort of bad stuff would happen. They would know that, but I mean, when it all comes back to it, it's the shame of it. The idea is like you're not supposed to do that because nobody does that, and it's shameful and disgusting. Right? The shame, I think, is something that we're going to need to harness. And the thing is, they're trying to rip it out from underneath us, right? They're making sure that nobody can shame anybody. And they're not doing a very good job of it. Obviously, there's a lot of people out on the internet, and they're doing exactly that for whatever reason, right? They have different angles, and they want to shame people for different various things. And lots of times, it comes by way of gossip and stuff on the internet. And I know that that's pretty it's pretty tedious, and it seems like it doesn't even make sense to take so much time to look at all these dirty, disgusting celebrities and all their terrible lifestyles, or whatever you would call it, and analyze them all the time and stuff. Me personally, I just don't have the time for it, and I know a lot of people probably don't have the time for it. They're sickened by it, sick and tired of it. All right. I totally agree. I see what you mean, all right, because these celebrities are tired, run down, and they done sold their souls or whatever. I don't know. They look all beat up and used up, chewed up and spit out. All right, these people. But however, I think it's going to be crucial in these times in which the pressure is rising, right? And I don't recommend that anybody get frazzled. I recommend keep your composure and stuff like that. But, certain things are heating up and coming to a head and stuff. We can see that politically, socioeconomically, and things of this nature. I mean, there's people talking about stuff. I think it's very important that we take time out right now because as society, we're noticing it's on a moral decay. The moral compass is kind of all over the place. People are starting to do stuff out in the open. They're just proud of it. And they're saying, hey, you can't hate on me because I'm proud of what I'm doing. I'm going to do it out in the open, even though I should be ashamed. And people who've done this before in history have all been doing it in the dark and ashamed of themselves, as well they should be in the dark and ashamed. In fact, they shouldn't be doing these things. All right, so that being said, we have an example right here. Could get us kicked off of YouTube. I'm doing this live right here on this channel. All right, I could very well get kicked off of YouTube right now. But we had to discuss this. The other day, it was actually on a live broadcast that we came to talking about Madonna. All right, and we're looking at a picture right now, a picture of Madonna. And this was first brought to my attention by the man, Paul Romano, and he runs a channel called Pockets of the Future, all one word, on YouTube. All right, he's very crucial. I like his stuff. I like his comedic value. I think that you would too if you subscribe to him. You know what I'm saying? He's got very humorous stuff and banter. He's talking about Madonna in one of her latest videos. And he's pointing out that unfortunately we don't want to dwell upon Madonna. All right, I don't mean to single Madonna out necessarily. In fact, if we could just take off her name and put somebody else's face on there, I would very well do that. All right, it doesn't really matter to me. But okay, Madonna, she's this famous person. All right, and he's pointing out that she went on Instagram. She's been going on Instagram. It's kind of desperate. It was kind of a desperate lifestyle. If we were just to be objective about it, all right, she was a desperate failure of a lifestyle and stuff. She's probably gonna do the single thing, and Lord knows that women are not designed to experience success in their life, and it's unfortunate. The thing is, without a partner, and the thing is, yes, society is crumbling. So yes, there's probably a lot of ladies out there who are worthy of having a partner and stuff, and they're ready to do it. And they're finding out that the marketplace is a little bit messed up and a little bit skewed, and sometimes it gives them the raw end of the deal. Right, and it's unfortunate. It's especially unfortunate when it comes to these celebrities because these celebrities are, for lack of better terms, celebrated all over the place, and they have all sort of money, and they have all sort of access, and they have all sort of resources, and they have all sort of people falling all over them all the time. right? And so it looks like success, but meanwhile, they're actually dwindling away their time doing stuff that biologically they know that their bodies, or at least their bodies know that they should be doing very differently, right? And it's kind of like, that might be a little bit mysterious for some, but a lot of people know what I'm talking about. And that Madonna's kind of like a stereotype, very stereotypical of a failed lady, right? She's freaking out. Her brains are all freaking out. And I'm not here to single out Madonna, but she's just in the role. She just plays. She's playing that part. In society in which her brains are freaking out and stuff. She's doing all this stuff. You see her on Instagram, desperate for attention. She's shadowboxing and stuff like that. It it looked ridiculous. We don't have time to go through the video, but the video is of what these still frames are of. Right? She was going in and she was shadowboxing and stuff, and I don't know, getting ready for something. And she's an old lady. Her face looks kind of alien, and I don't want to dwell upon that to say, oh yeah, let's make fun of Madonna. We love Madonna. I love Madonna. I don't know about you, but I love her. All right, I wish she would stop making these decisions for herself because she's desperate for attention and stuff. At a certain age, she's trying to look, I don't know, sexually attractive or something like that. And then, she's working out and then she goes into an ice bath. She's doing all this over Instagram, and I get it. Some people, they put out this kind of content, and people like it. There's a supply and a demand for that kind of content, I'm sure. Anyways, she's going up and down into this ice bath, and she hops out. And as you can see right here, if you haven't seen the video already, the thing is, it's gone super viral. So I wouldn't doubt that you've already seen it. She gets out, she gets a cup, and it looks like a cup of, I don't know, maybe it could look like a certain kind of tea. Maybe that's a cup of tea. I don't know. But she says in the video that it's actually her urine. Right? Her urine. I wanted to point that out in case you hadn't heard about it. It's gone super viral. And from what I heard about it, I have not been following it too closely, but I've kept my ear out. And from what I heard about it, I don't think Madonna's corrected the story. Obviously, a lot of people are talking about this. You might want to correct it. Like, say, hypothetically, if this was a joke, if she wasn't in fact drinking her own urine, and she was drinking a tea and she's making a joke, she might want to correct the situation and say, hey, look, you guys, that was a joke. I'm sorry about misleading y'all. I was just having a bit of fun on Instagram, all right? That could be possible, but the thing is, as the days go by, I can't help but notice that that's probably not the case. I think that she was actually drinking her urine, all right, on Instagram. It's some sort of health thing, all right? If we go back to Google, actually, we could, it's like, all this stuff probably would get us kicked off of YouTube, but however, it's big time stuff on Google, on YouTube, like on these different various platforms. I'm sure Instagram and all that, all the rest of them. I bet you there's a Facebook for it. People be doing this stuff, dude. And I know this might look horrifying to everybody. It might look horrifying to y'all, all right? What's going on here, what seems to be going on here, what I typed in, all this stuff might get me kicked off of YouTube, all right? And I'm not bullying these people. I'm not hating on these people. These people done lost it. All right, some of these people are joking, and it's just it's just a fake thing, and it's just orange juice or whatever, or they're doing something. Some of these people are like really doing the urine drinking thing, and the thing is, I've seen articles and I went through to find out. It's like, dude, maybe everybody's making this up just to play a trick on me. All right, sometimes I can't help but contemplate that. And so, I went on the internet and I was looking at all these different articles. And I saw these people talking about it and asking each other about it. And I saw videos of people talking about it. People coming out and just saying, yeah, I do this. You want to do this? I think it's a good idea. And doing this, all right? I want to point something out. I think most people, it doesn't matter how many videos are on the internet and articles and stuff, most people from where I came from would reject this idea wholeheartedly. And I would be one of those people. And I want to do so vigorously, and I want to have it well documented. right? Because, as they say, to each his own and this and that, let people live and have liberty. I love liberty. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense to me, all right? But at the same time, I don't want this around me, all right? Not only am I not going to partake in this, and I stand against it wholeheartedly and undoubtedly, but I'm not even going to have it around me. Like, I don't want it around me. If you're saying that you're going to do it, if you're saying that you do it, and you were someone who I knew personally in my life, I would look at you differently from that day forth and perhaps even cut you out of my life. All right. And it is that drastic. I am drawing the line. All right. And Madonna, all I can do is feel bad for her. And I don't hate her. All right. Like I said, I love her. All right. I wish she would start making the right decisions. It doesn't seem like she's going to do that anytime soon. And man, I just wanted to point that out. All these people doing it. And I'll tell you all sort of reasons. You can go through the videos if you haven't seen the videos already. We talked about it the other day. Yeah, it's a phenomenon. But these people they're talking about, doctors. They're like, oh man, this is a secret. This is uh, a well kept secret that the doctors don't want us to know. If they even knew that we knew that our own urine has so much nutrients in it that if we drink it, we won't even have to drink nothing else. And we could just live totally Amish and vegan at the same time, man. It's going to be wonderful. I don't even think that is vegan, to be honest. I don't think that qualifies as vegan, but some people be doing it. All right, and they're very rigorous about it. They're starting to come out in the open about it. I want to say this is kind of unprecedented because perhaps people have been doing this, all right, for a while. I wouldn't put it past them. But they've been doing it, and lots of times they're doing it on the low. Maybe they write a book about it later or something. It's like, dude, I'm not going to buy that book. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I shame on you, dude. Shame on you for the people out here doing this. Oh, it might be some miracle cure. Everybody who I've talked about it, and I've talked to a lot of people about this now, and I've let them in on this. The secret, it's not my secret, it's Madonna's secret. It's all these people's secrets. All right, let them in on it and say, hey, how do you feel about this? And they say, you know what? The only way, and I've gotten this 5 or 6 different times, they've all said the only way that they would ever do this, ever be caught doing this, is if they were dying of thirst, maybe in the desert, and there was really no signs of any sort of drink coming that they might think about doing this. Every last one of them said this. And so other than that, no, they wouldn't be caught dead doing this. Of course you wouldn't do this. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make logical sense. Even if it did. Even if it did, y'all, I'm here to tell you, even if you didn't have to supplement at all, or like take any supplements at the store, or nothing, you get all your nutrients if you just drink your own urine. From when you wake up in the morning, you drink some of your own urine, and it's gonna be all good for you the rest of the day, and you're gonna have a complete good nutrition. I still wouldn't do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it, and I'm not ashamed to tell you. In fact, shame on y'all for doing it. Some people out there, they're doing it, and shame on them. All right. I think it's very important that we talk about it. They say, where do you get this from? It's like, dude, I didn't get that from the Bible. I'm pretty sure. I've definitely gone through the Bible once and twice. And the thing is, I don't remember nothing about the urine drinking. All right, but I already knew. And isn't that peculiar? Doesn't that strike you as intriguing that I already knew? I don't know about you out there. You might have already known. I want to dwell upon that. How did we already know that that's terrible? It's a terrible idea. Because the thing is, now we have all sorts of celebrities, and they're out in the open, and they're promoting these ideas, right? They're living a desperate, miserable lives, and they have all sort of money and cash flow, and they're like, oh yeah, we're doing great, we're doing so great, drinking our own urine and living life to the fullest. And the thing is, yeah, and still something inside of us. That's what's interesting to note. All right. And a lot of people out there who's definitely pushing the Bible, some people that push the Bible, and I wouldn't really suggest that personally, is that, it doesn't say nothing about urine drinking up in the Bible, whether or not you should do it. And that's the problem. People point that out. Amongst contradictions in the Bible, which is just natural, there's going to be contradictions. They point out there's certain things that they just won't tell you about in the Bible, such as urine drinking and whether or not you should do it. There's things that hint at it as far as living unclean and clean lives and stuff like that. Perhaps washing your hands. However, that's, it's a subtopic. The urine drinking, however, we know that it's wrong and it's nasty. And it's like, shame on these people, all right? That being said, that can carry on. All right. I've been thinking about this for a few days, right? We did a live stream about it the other day. Talked about it for a little while. Right. That's when it was all coming to the forefront. And in the meantime, it didn't take no time at all before I stumbled across the next thing. And from what I understand, the next thing that we're about to talk about right now is equally as viral. People heard about it. Like I was bringing it up. I started bringing it up to some people. All right. It's called perineum. Perineum. It's called perineum sunning. All right. And that's a fancy term. It's kind of like a veiled term in order to say something else. All right. It's a new fad. And I'm going to just let you check it out. That's what it is. All right. If you can read right there, I'm not even going to bother saying it. Right. But I've been bringing up this thing to people, that what I've been seeing. And interesting enough, there's people, and that's how you can tell when things are viral. It's like when you bring things up and people already know what you're talking about. I try to get a feel, like I'll take it's like I'm fishing out there and I'll just mention a certain thing. And, hey, I'll be like, have you heard anything about this, about something like this? And then they'll be like, hell yeah, I heard about this. And yeah, they did hear about this. People have heard about this. All right. If this is the first time that you ever heard about this, yeah, this is a thing. And a lot of people, it's going around. I don't know how many views and stuff. I don't know if it'll say, but people have been talking about it recently. All right. We'll just leave it right here for a second. All right? Can you imagine how amazing this is? How unprecedented. I mean, surely this has been going on since before recorded history. But however, people had shame enough to do it and know that nobody else is going to approve of this behavior. And this is just outrageous, whatever you're doing. And then, not only are you doing it, it's whatever. If you're going to do it, go and do it. Do it in shame. Do it by yourself, right? Don't go gloating about it necessarily. And still, these people they're now coming out across the forefront and gloating about it and saying this is something y'all should consider. No, it isn't. All right, and that's the thing about it. No, nobody has to tell me. Nobody's ever told me to not do this in my life. And yet, still, for some reason, when I see it, I'm like, no, that's not gonna happen. And stuff around me and stuff, like I'm not going to allow for this kind of behavior and these thought processes to even take place around me. Right? It's a little bit too much. It's a little bit too much. All right? There's too much knowledge at a certain point, and this is not even knowledgeable. I mean, these people are doing it and they're like wholehearted in doing it, and certainly they're like proclaiming their newfound invention on Instagram and all sort of places, getting money. All right, some people are, and Instagram's gonna let them. You know, these people in particular doing these things. There's a lot of people that do it, and shame on all these people. Thing is, how would I know? Well, society didn't used to do it, but like I said, the moral compass is kind of getting shifted all around. So now it's becoming, it's like, okay, now society does this, I guess. Some people do it and they're very open with doing it. And they'll come out on the videos and they'll be talking to you specifically about how they love doing it. All right. Meanwhile, I want to point out that it's a major factor of nobody knows that y'all are talking about these things. All right. Nobody knows all the weird kind of things that y'all talk about and do as far as people urine drinking, as far as people doing this perineum signing. Nobody knows about this stuff because we never even looked into it. We never even imagined about it. This is just beyond the pale. All right. But now that we're hearing about it, now these people are going viral. And it's a very interesting process because either we embrace the idea of saying maybe that's a very holistic thing that you're doing and it's a wonderful idea to teach little children or something like this. But it's outrageous. I think a lot of people are just going to take a look at it and say, you know what? We've taken this way too far. I understand that you could fall off the ledge, and so therefore I'm going to back up and go into a little bit more of a conservative stance, not quite so perverse. And it's kind of get what's called more conservative, I guess. It has nothing to do with politics, like Democrat or Republican, this and that. Of course, Democrats are nutballs. They're going nuts, and shame on them. That's the thing about it. We love all these Democrats. I love all those Democrats out there. All of them. I can't hardly name some of them right now, but the thing is, I love all of them. However, they got all nutballs. They're saying things that don't even hardly make no sense. In fact, sometimes they don't make any sense. Shame on them for that sort of stuff. It's like, dude, shame on all these people. And when we realize that these people need shame on them, not hate, and we shower shame on them, not bullying. We shower this shame on them so that they know full well that what they're doing is wrong. And we're not just going to sit and stand for it. And even if there's no other reaction, we're still going to call it for what it is and say it's disgusting and that y'all should feel ashamed of yourselves, right? And we got the First Amendment just to say that. And we can say that in particular. In fact, we're going to stress that. Shame on these people, all right? I just wanted to make this early broadcast. I realize there's going to be people recovering, all right, from Thanksgiving yesterday. And so, being as this is close to late morning, I know people ain't out there right now. I plan to do a live stream broadcast tonight, of the regular format, cooking and booking, discussing all sort of news items and stuff. Sometimes, having news blitzes and this and that, and sometimes breaking things down and into the nitty gritty. We're gonna do that tonight. But yeah, I just wanted to come on right now, I guess, while it's still quiet, while people are still recovering, and put out this notion that I've had that we're gonna have to concentrate, especially up here on the internet. And I think once we concentrate on this, because we've been told not to for so long as far as shaming people. And it's not to say that we're bullying these people. Like I said, it's not to say that we're hating these people, because I don't think we are. It's to say that it's shaming on them because what they're doing is wrong and it's terrible. And it's setting terrible examples. And I think it's going to prove to look like a nightmare, all right, from here on out. For these people who's so desperate for success and this and that, well, biologically speaking, they could have had all the success that they needed had they done what was right back in the day instead of parading around doing all sort of disgusting things. And now, I mean, it's just coming to the forefront. It's not that we hate on these people. It's that we have the right to tell these people that they're slipping and tripping, and there's actually a better way, a much better way, right? That being said, I kind of want to segue into the last thing, and I didn't do it so gracefully, all right, as I would have imagined, but I want to share with y'all something, all right? Shame we were talking about, all sort of different shame. There's different various reasons why I think we should be calling out people for shame right now and shaming on people to include ourselves. Thing is, I hope people shame me into, doing better. All right, shame me into getting the technology that would make it so that you can see my face while we do these live streams. I know I'm gonna have to work you up to that. All right, shame on me for not doing that. For example. Shame on me because you can't see my face. It would just make sense if you could see my face instead of see this screen. But however, the screen allows for us to look at some of this evidence of people and how they should be having shame all over themselves. All right. I want to point out something that's of a different nature, and it's in reference to these certain mass shootings, right, that have been taking place. You might be aware, and I really couldn't lie about it as far as the quantity of mass shootings that are taking place in the United States currently. All right, now the United States is kind of a big place, right, and certainly there's lots of guns, but the mass shootings have been kind of they happen frequently. I think you would say, and the definition of mass shootings is 4 or more casualties at least inside that shooting. Right, that's the definition of it. So everything qualifying as that, or above that, there's a lot of that happens in the United States. When you consider how big the United States is, it might not even sound like that much, right? But it's debatable. Right, there's certain particular mass shootings, and we've already seen it, that are hyped up. In particular, when it comes to the television, when it comes to these news conglomerates who like to spoon feed everybody the news. Now, most people like to get spoon fed the news, and so they take it on face value, right? About these mass shootings that take place typically in schools, sometimes in synagogues. A lot of people have been covering that. We haven't really been covering that to a very close degree here on this channel. However, we had talked about Parkland. We've been still talking about Parkland and the circus that is. Now, Parkland by itself is a circus, right? And then when you kind of incorporate all the different various facets of only certain mass shootings that are covered by news conglomerates and stuff, they would rather us not talk about it, say on YouTube, if they were to find out. All right. When you think about these certain situations, mind you, although we don't cover them too closely here upon this channel, I want to say that it's getting beyond ridiculous. All right. And I see that. There's a lot of people out there who's like 100% hoaxes or 100% hoaxers, non-believers out there who don't believe a word of the original narrative. And there's nothing that anybody could do to get them to feel otherwise, right? There's people out there who do that sort of stuff. And then there's people who get spoon-fed the original narrative, right? And all sort of things can happen. And trust me, when it comes to individual situations, these new various stories that keep coming into the news, I couldn't tell you one way or another, all right? But what I can say is seeing them from my periphery, and we're actually going to cut to this video right now. We're going to play it. And I mean, it's been we've gotten into the broadcast a ways. We're already 36 minutes in, but we're finally going to get to this video, and I want to take a look at it right now. But before I do, I might make a comment after the video and stuff, and then we're going to wind down and get up on out of here, all right? And see what I can get done today, and you know, in preparation for the show tonight, right? I do plan to have a live stream show tonight. We're going to see how that goes. You know, I'll try to let y'all know if it's not going to go down. But we're pretty sure it's going down, all right? In the meantime, there's this video. Okay, before I play it, I want to say, just judging from the periphery with all these mass shootings, the ones that they especially like talking about, this one in particular is of Saga shooting that took place in California somewhere just outside of Los Angeles. I don't know too much about it. I don't really have much time to dive down every rabbit hole as some people do, especially some of these people who be cutting videos and stuff and really showing the nitty gritty of the ins and outs of all these situations, man. Big ups to those people. There's all sort of people I love to see their videos and stuff and sort of stay in tune with the situation loosely, right? So that being said, I really don't know anything about this Saugus high school shooting. I think 2 people got killed. I think, you know, a couple other people got shot. I think that the suspect, if you will, also got shot. I forget exactly. I think he died. And I don't know much else about it. But what I can say is that when it comes to this testimony that we're going to see right now, right? You may have seen it before. I stumbled across it. I was looking at like a Joseph Collins video or an All the World is a Stage video. And underneath there was this video. And it just came on automatic after the video. And so I saw this. YouTube brought this to my attention. The thing is, when I play it right now, who's to say? Maybe I'll get all sort of copyright things. Maybe I'll get hated on. The thing is, you know, I'm pretty sure that this is free to air. This is a public announcement from a lady who allegedly, this young lady, got shot up at Saugus. I'm not sure where. She has her arm in a sling, and so, you know, it would lead me to believe that there's some sort of injuries. She got shot up at Saugus High School, and I think she's going to detail about how her best friend in the world got shot to death. I would assume right there in front of her or close by or somehow. That's what I would assume about this particular situation. All right. And the way that she's about to speak on it, I think that you're going to find it highly abnormal. Right? Just like, for example, all these previous mass shootings, right? And when I say that, I mean the ones that are particularly hyped on the television through these news conglomerates. Now, there's a whole host of mass shootings that they don't even talk about or barely bring up. You know what I'm saying? That's the majority of the mass shootings, but they're not going to talk about those. Not really. They're only going to talk about certain ones to include this one. And you can note that there's certain common denominators. For example, if it's in an urban area or an inner city area, or there's people of certain persuasion, it's not going to get brought up. All right, who cares? That's throwaway information. I mean, that's just a statistic. That's a blip in the news cycle. When it comes to these particular mass shootings, oh, it's a big deal. Oh, we got to really talk about this. In fact, we need to get testimonials from everybody who shot up, everybody who's seen everybody got shot up. We need to get on the ground and hear their entire testimonials. And if they're crying, that's especially good. This is what the news is now. All right. Obviously, over the top, insane nutballs. And I think that's what people's definitely been pointing out, especially those talking about, oh, yeah, this could be 100% hoax and everybody's lying. How could I blame you for thinking that, especially if these people look very disingenuous, look very unnatural? In fact, they're doing unnatural things. These things are unnatural and perhaps mentally disturbed. All right, someone who would care would get to the bottom of it, but yet and still, we're just seeing the same testimonials over and over and over and over. They're so vague and ambiguous. It's like they got it from a template. It's like there's a certain script that they're reading off of. It's almost like that. Am I right? So with that being said, without further ado, let's see if we can get the audio right on this.
My name is Addison Kegley, and I am a Saugus Centurion, class of 2023. I wanted to let everyone know that I am doing well and I am at home with my family. I would like to thank the students, teachers, and staff, and the first responders who literally saved my life on Thursday. I also want to thank the amazing doctors and nurses at the staff of Providence Holy Cross. You guys rock! To my friends and family and my Saugus Strong community, I really appreciate all of the love and support. I am so thankful for each and every one of you. I wish I could be there tonight, but I'm just not quite ready. But I wanted to tell you all a few things about my best friend. I have known Gracie Ann Muehlberger for 6 amazing years, and I know pretty much everything about her. I've only known Dom since about September, but it's felt like a lifetime because we became such fast friends. While knowing both of these amazing people, I've learned so much about them. Gracie was unique, and she cared about others the way no one else could. Just by being around her was one of the best feelings in the world, and I wish I could be around her just one last time. Gracie was silly, kind, smart, loving, caring, and beautiful on the inside and out. Gracie was my childhood. She taught me what real love was, and that if I wanted something so badly, I could do anything and everything to achieve it. Gracie had the biggest heart you could ever imagine. She could read me like a book. She would make sure I was okay, and if I needed anything, she would get it for me as soon as possible. I spent so much time with Gracie, I practically lived at her house. I personally considered Mr. and Mrs. Muehlberger to be my second set of parents, and they are so amazing and so great to me, and I'm so beyond grateful for them. All of the inside jokes, nicknames, shows we loved were my favorite memories. There was one day where we decided to watch Barbie as a throwback, and we ended up loving it so much that we just kept watching it. We would stumble over our words and make those silly words nicknames. Gracie was one of the best people I have ever met, and she changed my life for the better. I love her so much, and she was the best 6 years of my life. Dominic and I have known each other for a couple of months. However, we grew very close very fast. Dom had a great soul, a kind heart, a loving spirit, and so much more. He could put a smile on anyone's face with just his silly looks, and he could make my day within a second. Dominic was such an amazing person, and I will miss him every single day. My family and I thank all of you for your wonderful love, support, and prayers. I promise each of you that I will make something amazing out of this horrible situation. Gracie would have wanted me to. We've got this. Saugus strong.
All right, that's a perfect note to end it on. All right, we're going to wind it down. First and foremost, all over the place, I do not hate this little girl who you're seeing on the video. I don't know who this little girl is, number one. And nor would I think to hate her off the top or hate anybody. I want to mention that. But at the same time, it's very disingenuous. Shame on this young lady. I don't know who she is. And no, I'm not trying to hate on her. But shame on this lady, this young lady. I don't know what's going on. If she got shot up, here's the thing. Let's assume she did get shot up, and that's completely legitimate. I'm not here to uh, really debate that at this particular moment because I have not looked into the incident very much. But let's say she got shot up, and let's say her friends got shot up right there. That's terrible. I can't discount. I'm not going to take away from that. I'm not hating on you for that, and I'm not even saying it didn't happen. But I am saying that it's pretty disingenuous. The formulaic type things that she was saying about her friend. Just, oh, this was such an amazing person. This was an angel person, and this person came down and they would make all my wildest dreams come true, and it's just amazing, and I couldn't even believe it. This is probably the most amazing person that you would ever know in your whole life. All right, she should have been a celebrity, a world class celebrity, just because of how amazing she was. However, she got gunned down that day for no reason, and nobody knows why. It was a senseless killing and stuff like that. Um, and I just lost her. Certainly, she got shot up right in front of you, and that was just only a couple of days ago, a few days ago, but you're up in front of a camera. All right, just so naturally saying these things, it sounds like you read them off of a script. All right, the thing is, all of this could be true. I'm not saying she's lying, perhaps she's not lying, but when you look at these pictures and hear her testimonial, hear her very vague ways of even describing the experiences she had with her so-called best friend and this person who she came in cahoots with over the past few months real deep, and that person also got gunned down, all right there in her vicinity, and she's just commonly telling everybody, oh, everybody's been so great, everything's been so wonderful and stuff. It's disingenuous. It also doesn't make sense. All right, you should be a little bit more reserved than this. It shouldn't look like a commercial for the hospital. Like, it shouldn't look like it's all super staged like this, because people are going to assume it's very much staged, and everything is staged about it. And it would make sense for people to assume that because that's the way that you're making it look. That's the way that these producers are making it look. The people who are editing this stuff, that's how they're making it appear to be like it's just all fabricated and, if not super manipulated. All right, very formulaic. There's nothing very detailed. The thing is, she's not showing the type of emotions that any little girl would show after actually getting shot up and having her best friend shot up to pieces in front of her. She wouldn't be exactly talking like this. Right? So shame on this lady. The thing is, maybe your friend did get shot up, and that is terrible. And I do give condolences for that. That is terrible. That's a nightmare. What in the world would lead you as a young lady to going on and doing this sort of video and cutting this video and kind of making a mockery of the whole situation, in that you can't even say anything individualized necessarily for your best friend in the world. You just say the same thing that people say, like a little template, every time that this happens. You say the exact same thing, right? Like you have a teleprompter in front of you. And it looks like a commercial slash a pamphlet for the hospital itself, and y'all have all this music keyed up and everything like that. All right, and at the end of it, and it's probably my favorite part, I gotta say, man, shame on these people, but every single time that this particular thing happens, when they find a shooting, I don't know if you'd say to celebrate or so much as emphasize and just dwell upon for a while, they always come up, every last one that they want us to really think about, not the ones that they don't care about, that they don't bring up, like in inner cities and urban areas where there's a lot of crime and poverty. They don't bring that up, but they bring this up. They almost celebrate it. I don't want to say celebrating it, but they really, really hype it up. Talk about it a lot. They always say Saga strong, or they always say, oh, we're Parkland strong. And isn't that annoying? Like, shame on these people, to be honest, at this point. Oh, we're Vegas strong. Oh, we're Parkland strong. It's like every place in which y'all are completely helpless, all right? Every place in which, some shooter goes in uncontested for a while and just has his way with everybody. That place automatically, no matter what, If it is chosen by the media and stuff like that, it becomes hashtag strong at the end. Have you noticed that? Every place where y'all are helpless and y'all can't even defend for yourselves is a place where you're so strong and you dwell upon it. It's like, dude, how do you, what about being necessarily helpless makes y'all so strong? In fact, doesn't that seem ironic? Doesn't it seem like an ironic joke? All right, shame on, shame on y'all. All right. And so there's nobody else in a viewing area and stuff like that. I feel comfortable to wind it down. And we're going to continue to go into more of the detail about, shaming on people, shaming on ourselves if we need it. I hope people shame on me for all the different various things that I could be shamed on. I hope that they shame on me and to the point where I don't even do those things anymore. Whatever things they might have to point it to my attention. If there's something I get caught slipping and tripping on, they might point it at me and say, "Hey, look, hey, you need to do this and that. Shame on you for whatever this and that is," so that perhaps I'll take it under consideration and be better off for not doing whatever it is. I'm fully down for that sort of thing. I think that society would benefit from that stuff. And in fact, I think that we can make ourselves strong in many various ways that have nothing to do with what we're talking about right here. And shame on these people. All right. And I could possibly be banned up off of this, so I'm going to try and keep up with y'all on Discord and my other channel, and see how about leaving the links below, and you can check out those other things and subscribe to them in case if I get deleted, which is very likely. Anyways, I appreciate y'all. It's November the 28th, 2019, the day after Thanksgiving, and you know what I'm saying? I appreciate all y'all, and I hope y'all are blessed out there, and I'm blessed for having y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'll holla.